Namaskar. I am Dr. Aarti Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Banaras Hindu University. I welcome you once again in this 12-week course titled History of Science and Technology in Ancient India from Harappan Civilization to 7th century CE. We are now in Module 2 and Lecture 5. The title of the lecture 5 is Harappan Flora and the title of the module 2 is Science and Technology in Harappa Civilization. In our last class, we have discussed about the different features of Harappan fauna, their existence, their relevance to study the Harappan culture and civilization. And now we are moving towards the Harappan flora because and flora and fauna are the inseparable evidences to understand the Harappan civilization gradually. So let's start. The learning objectives of this lecture is to understand the agricultural practices done by the Harappans, to know the archaeological evidences which gives information regarding the Harappan civilization, basically which is related to the flora, and to trace the subsistence strategy of the Harappans on the basis of flora. In this lecture, we are going to study the introduction, cropping, multi-cropping and crop rotation. What is these definition of these terms in perspective of Harappans? Discussion on wheat and barley, crop diversity and agricultural tools. The Harappan civilization boasted a rich and diverse array of plant life that played a vital role in agriculture, trade and daily activities. Evidence from Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Rakhigarhi and Lothal shows that the Harappans cultivated staple crops like wheat, barley and millet along with lentils and pea for protein. They always grew mustard and sesame for oil extraction and consumed fruit such as date, zuzube and grapes. Cotton cultivation was a significant achievement, making the Harappans one of the earliest societies to produce textiles. Trees such as neem, acacia, and sal were utilized for medicinal purposes, construction, and rituals. The presence of irrigation system and granaries indicates advanced agricultural practices enabling the Harappans to support a large population. This well developed agricultural system and reliance on a variety of plant highlights the Harappan profound understanding of their environment and sustainable way of life. Of course, the Harappans definitely followed by the different faunal or floral remains because they occupied a great land of fertile in northwest India as well as they span a long time, like in terms to understand they face the early phase, mature phase and late phase, and in this long span of time they must followed a variety of flora in their civilization and culture. In terms to understand the floral efficiency in the northwest India, we just have a look on the landscape of northwest India. The region of northwest India comprises the states of Haryana, Rajasthan, and Indian Punjab. This region lies in the critical zone between the Indus Gangetic hydrological system, which is the most important region in the subcontinent for understanding major cultural transitions, particularly the rise and fall of the urban centers of the Indus site, and cropping, multi-cropping, crop rotation. We already saw that northwest India is very fertile and it originated many rivers, so this land is very accurate for the agricultural activity. Harappans were involved in cropping, multi-cropping and crop rotation activities. Just let me clear it, the whole three terminologies. What does it mean? Cropping means plants of same kind grow on a large scale for food, clothing, etc. Multi-cropping, growing two or more crops in the same piece of land during a single growing season. And different types of crops in the same area or land in sequence season, it is crop rotation. Let me more explain it. The act of growing plants for agricultural purposes, it encompasses soil preparation, seed planting and harvesting. Cultivation is crucial for providing food, fiber, and various other resources. If we are talking about multi-cropping, then the technique of planting multiple crops on the same land within a single year, this approach optimized land usage and boost overall productivity while also mitigating the risk of losing the entire yields. And these practices are continuing in the modern period. They are always followed by the Indians. The crop rotation, the method of alternating the type of crop growing in a specific area from one season or year to the next. The practice enhance soil fertility and minimize the prevalence of pests and disease, thereby supporting soil health and sustainable agriculture. So, these all practices are important in order to maintain the fertility of the soil. And it is really very astonished platform that the Harappans were well known about uh, these information to flourish their agricultural activities. So, climate and agriculture. This region is also remarkable for its significant and nuanced environmental and cultural variation. Importantly, this region receives both summer and winter rain. It is marked by a very steep summer rainfall gradient. So, the amount of summer monsoon rainfall that falls on different parts of the plains is extremely variable, which impact upon water runoff pattern, natural vegetation, and also the crop that can be grown and their rotation as well. Important cereals and crops which have been reported from Harappa civilization, that is wheat, barley, rice, millets. Let's discuss the species, which kind of species have been reported. In wheat, their species are Triticum sphericocum, Triticum compacticum, Triticum aestivium. In barley category, it is Hodium vulgare nudum, Hodium sphericocum. In rice category, the species is Oryza, and in millets category, it is Eleusine species, Paspalum scrobiculatum, Echinocloa colonum, and sorghum species. In fiber crop category, it is cotton, which is Gossypium arboreum. In pulse and legume category, the lentils, pea, Pisum arvenus, grass pea, Lathyrus species, and Hynith bean, that is Labalaba purpureus purpuris. In the next category, which is fruits and wines, it is grapes, zuzube, date palm, and melon, and their different species have been cultivated by the Harappans. The ornamental and medical plants also found in the material remains by the excavation. The parijat, jasmine, jasminum species, henna were also found in the different sites of Harappans. The oil seeds like sesame, sesamum species, mustard, brassicas species have been reported from the different Harappan sites. Now understand the crop diversity, what we have the evidences from the Harappan land, agricultural land. Nowadays, modern day in India, there is two cropping which is Rabi and Kharif. In order to understand the Kharif crop, which is planted in June and harvested in October, they are basically summer crop, and the category are rice, maize, beans, cotton, groundnuts, paddy, soybean, and millets. The Harappans were well known about these all crop diversity activities, and they cultivated these things together. In Rabi crops, they are planted in November and harvested in April. These are also called winter crop. And main Rabi crops are wheat, barley, pea, gram, pulses, mustard, and linseed. These are also known by the Harappan people, and they were involved to cultivate these all crops in their own land. Evidence of rice from India. Lahura Deva, Sant Kabir Nagar in Uttar Pradesh produces the date of rice, which is wild rice. The scientific name of this wild rice is Oryza sativa nivara. The date is approximately 6409 BCE. From Mahagada, which is situated Allahabad, Uttar Pradesh, full domesticated rice have been reported, and the date is 1800 BCE. In northwest India, in recent date, Masoodpur is very important for the rice discovery. This site is situated in Hisar, Haryana, and is very important site in Rakhigadi hinterland. Let's discuss about this rice. The domestication of rice is very complicated and highly debated. It is not possible to distinguish species based on the grain alone. However, if the spikelet preserved, it is possible to distinguish wild from domestic and also mature and immature grains. These pictures showing how can we identify the particular beads of the rice. Let's discuss if domesticated rice is found, then it have deep ragged scar hole with the upstanding stump of tissue. If it is wild, then shallow and circular scar hole with smooth edges. And if the rice is immature, then it is outjutting scar. It is studied by the archaeobotanists who are going to study that the how the rice spikelet or the rice itself explain its history, whether it is domesticated or wild or immature rice beads. Now the identification of wheat and barley. In terms to understand the idealized wheat, leg symmetry is most planes. It is killed in lateral view, bread wheat and emmer wheat. It is identified by the archaeobotanists. Harappans were well known to identify these all weeds, and they are well aware with the cultivation of this wheat. If we want to understand the wheat, beard wheat, and emmer wheat, then beard wheat is Triticum aestivium and emmer wheat is Triticum dicocum, are two distinct species of wheat with different characteristics and historical importance. Beard wheat is a hexapoid subject species widely cultivated today for its high gluten content, which make it ideal for baking l- leavened bread and other baked goods. It evolved through hybridization, including emmer wheat as one of its ancestors. Emmer wheat, on the other side, is a tetraploid species and one of the earliest domesticated wheat. Emmer is valued for its nutritional richness and continues to be cultivated in some regions for traditional foods. Idealized barley, symmetry in all planes and not killed at all. These pictures show how we identify a good barley wheat, and the Harappans were well known to the cultivation of barley. They use barley for their food items. From Mehergarh, we found the wheat evidences, which is Triticum species, as well as we also found barley species like Hodium vulgare and vulgare. Effect of domestication on pulses. How can we differentiate these pulses are wild and this is domesticated? The domestication of pulses has led to significant morpholized and physiological changes that have enhanced their suitability for human use. These include increased seed size, gigantism, making them more desirable and nutritious, reduced natural seed dispersal, allowing easier harvesting, decreased toxicity and biochemical changes, improving edibility and safety, and the loss of seed dormancy, resulting in more uniform and predictable crop growth. Together, these traits reflects the shift from wild, naturally adopted plants to cultivated form, optimized for agriculture and human consumption. So, these are the basic points which indicates the change of pulses through the domestication process. These evidences are very important in terms to understand the Harappan cultivation system entire the northwest region. Now, weed and wild seed. If we are studying flora, then it doesn't mean we always learn about only cereals and main agricultural food items. We have to seek our attention towards the weeds and wild seed as well. These weeds and the fodders are useful for the animals, and animals are the inseparable part of the agricultural activity. That's why flora and fauna both are very important in terms to understand the development of any old civilization, their survival and their decline practices. To determine if it is a weed or not, think about this. Does it grow in a plant way? And could it be harmful to the crop or people? Like in UP and Bihar, there is a weed which is called one gehua, Or in MP, it is called Gehu ka Mama. It is automatically cultivated in the field of wheat. It auto-generate in the field of wheat. Basically, they are useful for the animal fodders. So they are also very important because wheat used by the human being and these fodders are the supplementary material for the animals. Wild seeds can tell us about different things like crop processing activity, farming practices, weeding, irrigation, plowing activity, indication of changes in practices, origin of agriculture, trade, non-native weeds, environment, wetland and dry land, climate, aridification. So, if any field produces continuously the wild seeds or the wild agricultural cereals, then it indicate different types of activity which I mentioned in this particular slide. We can trace these points through the study of these wild seeds. Now, rotation of crop can allow to increase yields and improving soil health, increase water storage, reducing insects and disease risk, minimized erosion. These are the basic reason that the farmer always rotate agricultural evidences in their own land because they want to maintain or just increase the fertility capacity of a land. It is necessary to rotate crops because one only crops will not good for the fertility of a particular land. So in present time the farmers knows these things, but in Harappan's time they were also well aware about these practices, and this is the reason that they were involved in cropping, multi-cropping and agricultural activity. Now agricultural practices which we have seen in different activity like soil preparation, plowing, leveling, apply fertilizer, selection of seeds and sowing, BD and crop protection, harvesting and storage. These all agricultural practices have been practiced by the Harappan people and it showcased their full flourished agricultural output, their surplus production at their granary and their different storage jar which found from the different Harappan site is proven these facts that they were well known to the agriculture activity for their surplus production. Recent interpretation on Harappan flora is Dr. Kripa Shankar Saraswat has confirmed the discovery of rice from the site of Kunal, Banavali and Balu. Similarly, Dr. Anil Pokhariya has verified the discovery of rice from Kanmir, Gujarat. Additionally, Jennifer Bates has confirmed the discovery of rice from the Masudpur, and wheat has been reported from Rangapur, Lothal, Kalibanga, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Dates, Indian gooseberry, babul, neem, bamboo and cannabis have been reported from Kunal, as well as one coffin has been reported from Harappa was made by Devdar and rosewood. So these kind of floral evidences gives information regarding the contemporary floral economy or floral ecosystem of that particular climate. Tools used in agriculture by the Indus people, that is plow, hoe, spade, pickaxe, basket, hamper, rod, spear, dagger, and pike. These tools were found from different Harappan sites as well as they were well known to the fertilizers. They used generally animal byproducts for their to maintain their fertile capacity of the land, fish shell, oil mills. These are the important fertilizers for the Harappan people. In conclusion, we can say the Indus populations were the earliest people to use multi-cropping, crop rotation strategies across both season, summer and winter. When fully domesticated, Oryza sativa species japonica was introduced around 2000 BCE. The Indus people was already familiar with domesticated rice, local Oryza sativa indica, cultivation as well as cultivation technique. The village in northwest India were engaging in year-long farming and a network of regional farmers for supply the products. So, these are the references which gives information regarding the Harappan flora in order to understand the development and their flourishment, their varieties in a Harappan civilization in the time period of Harappan civilization and their contribution to the survival or the surplus production towards the Harappan population. Thank you for your patient listening. Namaskar.